Hi, my love. This is going to be your spirit guide session. For your reading, we're going to be working with multiple decks. I'm going to have some Rider-Waite's. I'm going to also be using a new deck, the Oracle of Nightmares, only because there's a little shadow side to the question that you were asking, and I feel like that would be kind of like the perfect deck to use for that. And then I may pull from my Oracle of Mystical Moments and the Oceanic Wild, which is a mermaid deck, just to kind of get like various vibes from this. We'll just see how the reading goes. This is one of my new decks, so I'm going to have the guidebook out because I'm still kind of getting a feel for how this deck wants to work. Okay, so the question that you were asking is that you've been married for quite some time, but the ex is still in the picture, like they're still around. And it seems to me like what's happening here is there's feelings of doubt, and there's feelings of not really sure why this particular person is still around in your life. And I feel like sometimes you think that maybe you've made a mistake or that you should have waited longer. So we're going to kind of see what the feel is. So the first thing I want to do is tune in to the guides that are going to be coming forward for you. So I'm going to cleanse the space. And I just ask that my client's guides come through and deliver a message that needs to be heard. Okay, so there's, first off, you have an animal guide that's stepping forward. Now, the thing I want to say is your spirit guides are going to come to me in a form so I can understand the message that they're trying to portray. They may not look the same to you, okay? So I feel like I need to say that because sometimes they'll come through and then my client will see their guides in a different form. But for me, they're showing themselves as a wolf energy, and my wolf guide is very protective. So my wolf guide comes through when they need to protect or when they're trying to guard a situation. Okay, so I'm taking that to say is what your guide is saying is that they're guarding the union, they're guarding the marriage. It's like a gray wolf, and I feel like they sit at the foot to the left of your significant other. Okay. So it's actually your significant other's guide, to be honest. I feel like by the way that they're revealing themselves to me. But they're coming forward and they're saying they're here to protect the union, okay? Okay, so I was just shown like a vastness of water. Water to me is emotions. Water is your intuition. And what I'm seeing here is that you're being drowned. You're drowning in your emotions. There's a lot of feelings, and now I see like an open door within the water. So I feel like there's a need to release. There's a need to let these emotions through. Okay, so I feel like that's what symbolically, like what spirit is showing me. There's a grandmother spirit around you, I feel. Now, this could be a grandmother who's actually passed, or this could be the essence of grandmother energy, okay? So I feel like this is definitely a guide that is around you that is older female energy, and they're very loving and nurturing, but they also tell it like it is. They're going to tell you exactly what you need to hear, the way that you need to hear it. They do a lot of tough love with you, my love. Okay, there's a lot of tough love from this energy, and so she's coming up, and I feel like what she's saying is that she's saying you have to pick it out from the root. Okay, you need to she's showing me roots. Grab it from the root, girl, and take it out. Okay, that's what she's saying. So I feel like what her energy is she's also very protective. She says you're very docile. Docile to me means like you're very timid or like shy in aspects. Okay, There's times where you don't know how to use your voice, is what she's saying. So almost like she kind of likes to be your voice for you. I don't know if this is an energy that you've known in person, she would speak for you, or she would speak on your behalf a lot. Okay. But in the spirit realm, energetically, she's doing the same thing, but she's encouraging you to use your voice, but it's like she's giving you the words to use. She's telling you what to say, and then you need to verbalize it. What's happening here is I feel that there is a flow of emotion that needs to come through. There's a need for closure. There's a need for like confession almost. Okay. That's like the vibe I'm getting, in pertaining to this ex-boyfriend. There's a lot of unsaid words, and like that's kind of like the feeling she's giving me. But the wolf guide who is coming through, I feel, is a protector of your significant other. They're protecting your husband. Okay. They are protecting him from, I feel like it's almost like he's guarding him, saying he has nothing to do with this. I'm holding like the boundary for him because he has nothing to do with this situation between you and this individual. So it's almost like that guide is there. He's like acting as a guard dog. Okay. Okay, let's pull some cards on this. So I'm going to use the Oracle of Nightmares. It's a little bit of a dark deck, so I apologize if it's a little bit uncomfortable, but I feel like I needed to pull that for you, because I feel like it's almost like we need to see the dark energy in this situation. Not saying that your energy is negative. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the shadow of this situation. So I'm going to pull on the energy between you and the ex, okay? We're not going to even touch on the husband, because the husband or your significant other has, from what their guide is saying, they have nothing to do with this situation. So we're not even going to worry about that. We have scrutiny. We have disquiet. Manifestation. The disquiet for me is almost giving me that feeling of like you guys aren't meant to be quiet. It's almost like that the relationship had to be shut out and had to be kept quiet, or there was not a lot of verbal communication going on, and this relationship needs air. That's how I'm feeling. This relationship needs air. The scrutiny, the first thing I'm drawn to obviously is the giant eye, which is, to me, it reminds me of the evil eye. Evil eye is a symbol for protection. It's a symbol to keep protection from people who like to have a say-so in our, in our business, right? And the evil eye coming up for this situation is telling me there was a lot of scrutiny. There was a lot of outside influences on your guys' relationship in the past, okay? You had a lot of opinions coming forward, and I feel like there was a lot of maybe you were listening to those opinions, or maybe your ex was listening to those opinions, and then it manifested a lot of junk, okay? Because the manifestation card coming up, and then the disquiet was almost like there wasn't a lot of communication between you two. There was a lot of shit that was brought out of the woodwork. I feel like you had a lot of outside influences that were pretty much influencing this relationship for the negative, okay? So the cards that fell out, we have the 5 of Wands and the 4 of Swords were the first two that fell out together. So I'm going to read those together. And that's kind of telling me that there was a lot of conflict in this relationship, a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting. You were always at odds with one another, or you were always fighting against other people's opinions of your relationship. Like I said, I feel like there was a lot of outside objection to you or him or both of you, okay? Like people just didn't want you together, or people didn't like you or the other person. Friendships maybe just like there was a lot of faltering with the friendships. And then we have the 4 of Swords, which is kind of like, that's what kind of got it to be put to rest. It was almost like all of this fighting and whatnot turned it into, I can't do this anymore energy, I have the Knight of Swords here. Knight of Swords is very like power of the tongue. So there was a lot of verbiage going on between you two. Hurtful words. The Nine of Wands tells me that you guys really like made up, broke up, made up, broke up. It was like a cycle constantly. And then the Two of Pentacles is telling me that there was that fork in the road. One of you had to, you know, make the decision. Somebody was taking their time with something. Either, you know, one of you wanted to get, wanted the relationship to move forward in a certain manner and the other person wasn't ready. There was a lot of like limbo, okay? And that was probably ultimately what broke it up. We have power coming through for that the energy of that relationship, power. Maybe this was power of you two were both very strong personality types, and there was power over who, you know, who was in charge of the relationship. This could be there was other people who had power over it. I'm almost seeing puppet strings, like Spirit is kind of showing me puppet strings. Like people were really just trying to have a say-so in your guys' relationship. And you guys allowed it. That's where you slipped up. Like you guys, this one wants to come out too. You guys allowed the relationship to be toyed with by other people's opinions. And that's where it slipped up. Okay. We have no rain today and we have Queen Bee. So Queen Bee could be it could be you in the relationship, or this could be also another individual, another very influential woman in the whole mix. So this could be maybe his mother, okay, or your mother. Someone was toying with you guys though. And then we have the no rain today feeling. So I feel like maybe it was just after a while you just didn't want to allow your emotions to overtake. You got tired of crying, tired of being upset, tired of always fighting. And it's almost like maybe you took charge. Maybe that no rain today in Queen Bee was like you saying, you know what, I'm not going to allow myself to be toyed with this anymore. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. And you wanted out. And so overall, that's what I'm seeing with the relationship. Like that's the kind of tone that I'm seeing. So that kind of helps me connect with you guys a little bit more. Interesting. The card at the bottom of the deck was the Ace of Swords. So that's kind of telling me that one of the main faults in the relationship was lack of truth, lack of communication. So like I was saying earlier, there needs to be talking. And I feel like that's why your spirit guide, they were showing me water and the door opening within the water. It was like, there's so much unsaid words, emotions and feelings and thoughts and just a lot of stuff that needs to come out that you have not been able to communicate with him. And maybe that's why he's still around, because it's like that closure hasn't happened. Okay. And you both feel it. So let's look at the other question that you were asking was, you know, is there a reason for him to be in your life? You know, should you have waited? Should you have, should your ex be in you? Should you guys be in each other's lives is like the question we're asking here. So those are yes, no questions. And I kind of want to steer clear from yes, no questions because it's easy to answer those right off the bat. And I want to take a little bit more time with this. So I'm just going to look on the energy of, you know, the situation at hand and what should be done. Okay. So we have the Seven of Wands, we have the Judgment card, and we have the Two of Pentacles. Instantly, this is telling me that there needs to be communication, okay? So I don't know if that's something you wanted to hear, but from what the cards are showing me, there needs to be a conversation, okay? People are going to be at odds of that. They're not going to really be liking that idea of you communicating with this person again. But you know what? Too bad. You know, sometimes you just have to do things for you and you can't worry about what other people are going to think. The same thing with the Judgment. There's a higher calling there. It's fate. Okay. So there's a reason why the ex is still in the picture. It's fate. Now, I do not condone affairs. I don't condone cheating, like all of that kind of stuff. So I don't want you guys who are watching to think that I'm saying, yes, have a conversation with him and then have a romance. I'm not saying that. No, I'm definitely not saying that. But I am saying that I feel like there's like unspoken feelings that need to be said. Something was not said from this relationship, but when it broke off, and that needs to be taken out. It needs to be spoken so that you can move on. Okay. And that's what that Two of Cups is saying. To me, it's just telling me to have that union for you two to get together, to talk, let your feelings out, so you two can move on from that. So we have creativity, we have impulse, and we have broken. Interesting. So like I said, it's going to take an impulsive decision to do this, okay? You probably are worried or nervous about, meeting up with him and having this conversation, but it's something that will help free you, okay? Also keep in mind, what is broken is broken. That's what I also feel is what Spirit is saying, is that what's broken is broken. So don't go into this situation thinking that you are supposed to mend things unless the direction of your conversation leads to that, okay? We have the offering card. So as I was saying that, disappointment, scrutiny. So I feel like as I'm saying that, the ex may still offer themselves up to you. That could actually be what I was just, because as I was talking, I pulled those cards. And the disappointment and the scrutiny would be the disappointment of other people. The scrutiny, the talking, the back talk of other people on this situation. You really need to put everybody, you need to quiet everyone else except for yourself and your significant other, your spouse's feelings, It's just between you, your spouse, and then of course, this conversation that needs to take place. But everybody else's outside opinions are nothing. They shouldn't have any leverage on you, okay? We have home in the sky. So I feel like that's kind of, home in the sky is making me think like your head is in the clouds, okay? And I feel like that's kind of saying like when it comes to the ex, your head is in the clouds. You're not thinking straight. You're not thinking clearly. You're thinking in fantasy la land. What needs to take place is the confession, okay? Letting things out, allowing yourself that closure. If there is an offering and it would come from this ex, of them saying, why don't we try this again, blah, blah, blah. Before you make an impulsive decision on that, like the impulse card came up and then the broken card, you need to remind yourself why you two didn't work out beforehand. And you need to understand things are broken, things take time to mend, but you also have another relationship, a more solid, stable relationship, a marriage. And that's where the disappointment and the scrutiny would come in. You would have disappointment and scrutiny no matter what from other people if you were to go forward with this ex relationship. Now, ultimately, you can make the decision. It's your life. It's your love life. It's your feelings, your heart. But you also have to take into consideration your spouse's feelings too, because even though they have nothing to do with this connection with you and your ex, they are still involved because they are your spouse. So, it sounds to me like a touchy situation. It sounds to me like as long as you could control your actions, and sit down and have a conversation with the ex and say what you need to say and then be able to walk away. I see nothing wrong with setting up a meeting to do that. But if you don't trust your actions, you don't trust your body, and you don't trust, your the possibilities of what can come out of that meeting, think twice before you do it. But it's a touchy situation, Strength, Knight of Wands, Page of Swords. So the cards are kind of saying like you're much stronger than you give yourself credit for. Have faith, be strong in this situation. Your willpower is what will make it or break it, okay? Knight of Wands too. This is all about, he's all about communication, but he's also about moving forward. So I feel like it's like move forward with the conversation and whatnot, but be willing to be on the, I think, is it on the defense? Like you're walking into this with your ability to express and to get things out and have closure, but don't weaken yourself to the point where you are tempted. Okay, I feel like that's kind of like what that card is saying. Solely there for the conversation, but you're not there. There's no cups involved, so you're not there for the emotions, the romantic. So that's a big one, because there was no cups in the reading, which tells me the emotions. There's no like love commitment there. You know what I mean? It's strictly like taking action and conversation. Those were like the sword suit and the wand suit were heavy in the reading. Night ride. So, you know, you never know. Maybe when you guys meet up together, it'll be a nighttime, okay? Meeting up just briefly. Authority. It'll be up to you to be establishing authority when you guys get together, okay? You have to maintain that willpower, that strength, okay? Maintain the willpower and the strength to stay strong in the situation at hand, all right? I hope that helped you, my love. Let's pull one last card. We have Illumination. This will bring to light what needs to be brought to light. It will probably put everything into perspective for you, and illuminating the truth, it'll help you move on. So do I feel like, yes, there is a reason why the ex is still in the picture? Yes. I feel like there's a conversation that needs to take place, but I feel like as far as anything romantic evolving from that, you have to first take into consideration the spouse and also what you want out of this, okay, based on the conversation that you have, because I feel like that's what's going to be the big deal here. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of words that need to come out, okay, before you can even think about anything romantic. But yeah, it's a touchy topic to read for, because I don't condone any kind of, you know, foul play and like dishonesty with a spouse. And so I just say be very wise with your choices and don't act impulsively, you know. Make sure you are really thinking this through. And I just hope that, you know, the conversation that you have allows you to release, because I feel like that's what needs to happen here. There's a lot of release that needs to take place. So I wish you all the best, my love. Thank you so much for allowing me to connect with you. And anyone who's watching, if you are looking for a reading, a spirit guide session, or any kind of a tarot reading, please check out my website. The links are below. Check me out. And if you have any questions, you can totally comment on the videos, or you can send me an email. I would love to connect with you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye, loves.